My second was my twins. Now, we had decided that we were gonna try and get pregnant when Aubrey was like 14 months, when we decided we were gonna try to have a baby again. And so we were trying, and it just didn't seem to be working. Like, I would think I was pregnant and then I would have a period, and so I just didn't know what was going on. November comes and I am sick, like throwing up. I don't feel good. And I was like, I need to go to the hospital. Like, I need to go to the hospital. I don't know what's wrong with me. Like, I'm having a period, but I'm throwing up. Like, something's not right. And so we go to the hospital. They're taking vitals, like what they usually do, the pregnancy test or whatever. And so he's working on things like paperwork or whatever, and he's facing like away from me. And he's like, did you take a pregnancy test? And I was like, no. And he was like, well, you're pregnant. What? I was like, shut up. And he was like, no, seriously. And he showed me the test, and I was like, what? It worked? I'm pregnant? What are you doing? Like, I was so excited, you guys. Like, I was so excited, okay? I just knew this pregnancy was going to be different. I just knew I was not going to be sick the whole time, okay? So they could not see anything yet. I think I was way too early. Like, they couldn't see anything. So I went back twice after that because I was just, again, the nausea was so bad. And so, like, the next 2 times they could not see anything. The third time we went, I was probably only, I think she said only in between 4 and 6 weeks. Probably like 4 weeks. So I found out I was pregnant very early. So I go to the hospital and they do an ultrasound because they want to make sure everything is okay. And the ultrasound technician walks out because of course she can't tell you anything. And then the doctor walks back in and she's like, okay, seeing is believing. And she turns her phone around and goes, baby A, baby B. This me looking at my husband. What? You're having twins? What? Like, what? What it? God, you okay? You got me. Okay, like, what do you mean? What do you mean twins? Like, what do you mean I'm having? What do you mean? Yeah, you're having twins. Oh my goodness. So I call my mom. Well, no, I think I texted the picture to my mom, and she was like, you are kidding me. Oh my goodness. Was her what? And I called her and she was like, what? And I was like, I'm having twins. And she was like, what? You are kidding? And I was like, no, like, I'm having twins. I don't. So you guys, of course, again, I have HG. Now, to have HG with multiple pregnancies is not as common. What I didn't tell you guys about my first pregnancy is that I was diagnosed with being Rh negative. And so I had to get a RhoGAM shot when I'm 27 weeks or 28 weeks, and then right after I give birth. Which Rh negative is not a disease. It just means that basically, like, if my child is not Rh negative as well, my blood will try to attack her because it sees her as like a foreign object. So basically it's like I'm allergic to other blood types, okay? So, and I literally, when I found that out, when I was pregnant with Aubrey, like, I bawled my eyes out because I was like, I'm allergic to my baby. I'm gonna kill her in an accident. Like, yeah. So, I'm throwing up, and I'm throwing up severely. It is all day. It is every day. There's days that I just don't eat because I know I'm going to throw up and it hurts. And literally, I'm going through bags and bags and bags because I'm puking so much. Because I was so sick, I was not able to like connect with my babies on the level that I was able to do with Aubrey. When we moved and everything, and I'm laying on the couch one day, and I'm just having a lot of discharge. And when I was 33 weeks, I go in for an ultrasound, and I'm telling them everything that's happening, and they do an ultrasound, and they let me go. They let me go home. We just want to see you back every week to make sure the little one is growing properly. Okay, so I go to the doctor because I am just feeling so much pain at this point. I went to my sister's graduation, and like we were walking back because it had started storming, and I just get this horrible pain in my stomach, and I'm just like, just don't go to the hospital because they're just going to send you home and say that it's round ligament pain, blah, blah, blah. So I hobble my butt to the car and go home, and I want to say like a day or two later, I'm walking from my car to my apartment, and I have that same pain. The next day, I wake up and I'm having contractions, and they are horrid. I am in so much pain. I am crying. Dior was at work at this time, and my friend was living with us at this time. And I'm literally in so much pain. I am crying. I am like discharged and crying, and I am just like, I'm laying on the couch, and my friend ends up leaving because at this point, like, I'm just like, I'm gonna go to the hospital when he gets home. And at this point, you guys, I had been to the hospital so many times, and they had sent me home. Like, my friend was just like, I guess she just felt like they were gonna send me home again, like it's just pregnancy or whatever. And so I'm crying, like, she leaves, and I am just bawling my eyes out, you guys. Like, I am bawling. I'm crying. I'm in so much pain. And it's so bad that my 1-year-old is holding me in her lap. Like, it's okay, mommy. It's okay, mommy. And I'm sorry. I'm okay. I'm okay. Like, okay, so I'm calling my husband, and I'm like, I really need to go to the hospital. I call my mom. She's like, all right, come drop Aubrey off or whatever. And so we drop Aubrey off. I say I love you. And you guys, before this happens, Aubrey had been super clingy to me. Like, every time, like, even she loves to go to my mom's house. Like, that is her nana. She loves her. Like, she would cry in the middle of the night for us to come pick her up because she wanted to be like with me. So when we dropped her off, she did not want to let me go. She was crying and everything. And so, like, I felt like she knew. So, sorry guys. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. So we drive to the hospital, and they put the babies on the monitors, and they do an ultrasound. No, they don't do an ultrasound. They just do like blood work and stuff, and everything looks fine. So they're about to send me home, but then he wants to do a swab because he wants to make sure that I don't have a yeast infection because of the discharge. And so he swabs me, and they leave the room. And at this point, guys, I'm literally pissed because I'm like, I'm having contractions. And at this point, I think they said that I was only 3 centimeters dilated. But I wasn't, I don't know, they said something. I was only 3 centimeters dilated. So they were just going to send me home and wait till I was further along. But he went ahead and swabbed just to make sure that I didn't have a yeast infection. He came back with the gynecologist and he was like, okay, so that is not discharge, it's fluid. And so they do an ultrasound, and Melody, who was the bigger baby, had no more fluid around her, and Mariah, who was the smaller, had barely any left. So they're like, yeah, you're not going home, you're about to have these babies. So they take me to my room and they're hooking me up and they're like talking to me, and they're like, because I'm so scared of having a C-section, you guys, like that was my biggest fear, having a C-section. And they're like, they're both head down, so you should be able to have a vaginal delivery and everything like that. And I was like, okay, great. So they start me on Pitocin and they give it to me this time, like I just swallow it. And contractions, you guys, start almost immediately. I am in so much pain, you guys. I am crying, my back is hurting, like I cannot get comfortable, like I'm shivering because I'm in so much pain. I'm yelling at Dior because at this point, you guys, like he already gets off super late. Like he literally gets off of work at probably like, I think like 11, 12 sometimes. And so he's super tired. So he thinks because they told him that it could be hours or whatever, so he's taking a nap. And I'm literally crying, screaming for him to get up. And he gets up and walks to me, and I'm just in so much pain. And then, so because I'm moving, like the babies are getting off the monitors. And so they decide to, like, after like maybe, I want to say like an hour or two, she checks me again. So she decides to do like another pelvic exam to see like another, like they stick their fingers up to kind of see how far you've dilated. And she's puts her finger in there and she's like, I'm touching a body part, but it is not a head. Like it feels like a shoulder or a foot or a leg or something. It's not the head. And so they do an ultrasound and both babies have flipped. So at this point, she says, we have to get them out. She's like, for their own safety, we're gonna have to do a C-section. You guys, when I say that I started bawling, like bawling, I was so scared. I was just so terrified of having a C-section because I just felt like something would go wrong and I would die on the operating table. So I was super scared. I was crying. She did not give me time to process this. They were shoving papers in my face. Now before this, they had given me the epidural before this because my contractions were so bad. They had went ahead and did the epidural, which was not working. It had a little bit of relief, but I could still feel it, okay? So I had to sign papers basically that like if something goes wrong, like what do they want me to do and blah 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 blah. And she's like reading me everything that could go wrong, and I have to sign the paper. And so I am seriously bawling at this point. Like I'm terrified. I just don't feel like I'm gonna come out of this, and I'm just like, I have a daughter at home, like she's not gonna have her mommy, like what am I gonna do? And so they bring the anesthesiologist back in, and he of course has to put more medicine in and do a bunch of stuff. And so they get ready to take me out of the room, and I just feel like I cannot breathe. Like I feel like I cannot get air into my lungs, and I start to kind of panic and like I feel like I'm about to pass out, and I'm like telling him like I can't breathe, like I need to sit up, I can't breathe. And he's like, it's okay, like we're gonna get you in there, we're gonna get you an oxygen. I'm like, no, I cannot breathe. And they look at the monitor and they say her blood pressure is dropping, she needs oxygen, we need to get her in there, she needs oxygen. And so at this point, like I'm just like, I'm gone, like there's no coming back. Like they're wheeling me out, and I just feel like I'm passing out and coming back. And so when I finally actually get into the operating room, I feel like I can breathe again. Like I feel like I can take a deep breath and I'm okay. Like I was trying to get up on the way there, like I was trying to get up, and he was like, no, you have to lay down, you have to lay down. So when I finally got in there to the operating room, and they lay you flat like this and put, you know, things in you and stuff, and they put the oxygen, like the little thing in my nose or whatever, and I'm just laying there, and I'm not scared anymore because I'm super high at this point. And so because they're giving me, on top of like the epidural, they give you like other like anesthetics and stuff and medicine and stuff, so I am high, okay? And so Dior's right there with me, and I guess she's pinching me. I don't feel anything at this point. She's like, I'm pinching you really hard, do you feel it? And I'm like, no. And she's like, all right, I'm gonna wait a minute and I'm gonna pinch you again and tell me if you feel it. And so I didn't feel anything. They start, and all I can feel is like pressure on the catheter that they have put in me. All I could feel is that, like, I could feel that, and that shit was hurting. And I was telling them, like, they're like, are you okay? Are you feel anything? And I was like, I feel something in my vagina. And they're like, in your vagina? I was like, yeah, something's pushing on my vagina. And they're like, it's the catheter, it's the catheter, it's okay, it's just the catheter. And so they pull the babies out or whatever. They get the babies out, they get them washed off, and then they show me them. And again, you guys, it's like I was really still really high, but like my babies, like I literally just had 2 babies at the same time. Like there's nothing else to fear at this point, like but God himself. Like I just had 2 babies. I was just cut open while I was awake and had 2 babies. So they were really, really small, obviously. I again was super high, so I would have to ask my husband how much they weighed at birth, because I don't know. They put it on a card, which is put away, so I would have to go get it, or ask my husband. He's asleep. But they ended up getting down. Melody ended up getting, they didn't go to the NICU because they were healthy, they were just really small. So they ended up going to what's called the CCN room, which is basically where babies go to like just grow and whatnot. Like those are for babies who don't need the NICU, but they still need to be there. So they were in the CCN room, and of course I could not see them at first. I had to go back to my room and recover, and they had to like basically get all the medicine out my system so that I could really walk, and I had to walk around and blah 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 before I could go see the babies. So the babies were growing. The babies had gotten down. Melody got down to, I want to say 3'7", and Mariah got down to 3'3" or 3'2". And I think the hardest part with my twins was with my first pregnancy, Aubrey. Like obviously we left at the same time. With my twins, I had to leave without my babies. And for any mom, leaving your kid anywhere, even at your parents' house, you have so much anxiety. Like it is the scariest thing ever. And like I just remember like I was asking doctors, like, can I stay? Like, can I just stay a couple more days? Like, can I just stay until they get out? Like, they had like a Ronald McDonald house or whatever, and I was like, can I stay there? And they're like, well, you don't live far enough to be able to stay here. And so y'all, Priscilla is coming because she is making me real emotional, and I am really cramping right now too. But I had to leave him there, and like I just remember going in there, I just remember going in there like the day that I was supposed to leave. Like I had to go in there and say goodbye to my baby. And that was so hard. Like I bawled my eyes out, and they had these cameras that they put on their little beds that they were in, so that you could like, you had to log into your phone. I'm sorry. All right, I'm gonna get it together, you guys. Sorry. I didn't know this was gonna be so hard for me. They had little cameras above their bed so that you could just log into your phone and like just see them, like you could watch them sleep or whatever. So I remember like I would be holding Aubrey and putting her to sleep, and I would log in and just watch my babies sleeping and things like that. And then I was able to take Melody home first, and I had to keep Mariah there, which was, it was harder for me because I just felt like I was leaving her by herself. And they were like telling me they would have to put a tube in her because she wasn't gaining weight as fast or whatever. So they were like, we might have to put a tube. They would put a tube in her nose and it would go down to her, I think to her tummy, and like just feed her and whatnot. And I did not want it. Like I said no, like I was fighting them on it, like, and so they didn't do it. She ended up growing and being able to come home. Melody was in there for a week and like 2 days, and Mariah was in there for 2 weeks and 2 days, and then I got to bring them both home. It was just really hard for me to go through all of that. I lost 30 pounds with my twins, which is not normal. Usually you do not lose that much weight with twins. But just going through all of what I went through just to come out and not be able to take my babies home was so hard. They are super healthy now. I'm so proud of all 3 of them. They're beautiful. I love my kids so much. They love each other so much, and I'm just so thankful to God for just allowing us to have 3 beautiful little girls. I did have girls. I forgot to tell you guys when we found out they were girls, but yeah, we have 3 beautiful little girls. Aubrey is 3 now, and the twins are 1. And so it was really, it was traumatic. I will say that. I will say it was very traumatic for me. That's an experience that I will never regret, because my kids are here and I love my kids. Me and Dior ended up getting married on May 20th of 2019. It was a bittersweet day for me, and I kept it together all day, and I didn't cry all day until I got in my dress and I looked at myself, and I went out, and all my mom and sisters and Dior's sisters and his mom were out there, and nieces and nephews, and taking pictures. And then I just lost it, and I was like, this is really happening. Like, I'm really about to marry this man. So I did. I married my best friend. I married my soulmate. I married the person that God put in my life. I didn't tell you, but me and Dior met after I started going back to church, and after I got myself right with God. That's when me and Dior met. So everything that happened after that, I feel like God was just laying my life out, like, I got you now. Like, you did it. I'm about to bless you. And he did. And I'm super excited, and I'm done crying, you guys, because I'm done crying, okay? I'm done. I messed my makeup up, okay? I'm about to go lay down with my babies. So that is my pregnancy story. At least I kept it together. I kept it together for most of the things. So boo. But yeah, you guys, that is my story. I'm super happy. I love my family. I love just like sitting and just watching them play and watching them interact with each other. Is so beautiful, and I just love my family so much. And yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. I love you. Make sure you hug someone, tell them you love them. I need to go wash my face, take this wig off because it is cutting off my circulation. I love you guys so much. Thank you so much for watching, and remember to close the door when you leave. Bye.